Meeting to order. It is 7:02. We'll be starting with the organizational meeting of the Board of Education, which will move right into the regular meeting. I'm Janine Gnauer. I'm the district clerk, and that is why I'm beginning the organizational meeting. I will start by the swearing in of the new Board of Education trustees, Lindsay Hicks, Eileen Basher, and Donna Lang. They'll have to take the oath of office. If everyone could just stand up. Repeat after me. Okay.
Together.
I, state your name.
I, Donna Lang,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of School Board Trustee,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of School Board Trustee,
Hastings-on-Hudson Union Free School District,
Hastings-on-Hudson Union Free School District,
Town of Greenburgh, Westchester County, New York,
Town of Greenburgh, Westchester County, New York,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Okay, so if you could just sign this and pass it around. I've already filled it in. If you just look for your names.
Once again.
Donna. Okay.
Do you have a pen?
Yes.
It's the Constitution. It's a whole new meeting. What? It's part of the Constitution. Whole new meaning after this week. Yes, it does. We were in San Francisco this weekend. We were at the Gay Pride Parade. That's been a lot of celebrating. I just saw this article. I almost brought it with me, and I didn't. And it was about what a great place it is, what a great thing it is to visit Pittsburgh. Oh, it is? Yeah. It was great. It was like in a travel magazine that I was reading it.
Congratulations.
There's a lot to do. It's good food, especially with kids, little kids.
Good food.
Yeah, and little kids, there's a lot to do too.
Okay, I'll now oversee the election of board president, who will then take on the remaining of the meeting. So do I have a nomination for board president? Do we have nominations?
I'd like to nominate Eileen Basher.
Second.
It was Gabby, and who seconded it? Okay, anyone else?
It's all yours.
in favor? Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Right. You now have taken over office also as
Right.
board president. I
Eileen Basher,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United
the
States,
Constitution of the State of New York,
Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of board president,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Board President,
Hastings-on-Hudson Union Free School District,
Hastings-on-Hudson Union Free School District,
Town of Greenburgh, Westchester County, New York,
Town of Greenburgh, Westchester County, New York,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So,
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. More likely, more to the point.
This one, right?
yes. Okay, now you will do the election of vice president.
Okay, so we're moving on to the election of a vice president. Do I have a motion to nominate?
Well, I nominate Judy.
Okay, a second?
Second?
All right, all those in favor?
Judy Meyer did it. Thank you.
All right,
Do
so
I do it, or you do it?
I do it, and one more you.
A little sick, but.
I, state your name,
Jody Meyer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of vice president
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Vice
for the
President
Board of Education,
for the Board of Education,
Hastings-on-Hudson Union Free School District,
Hastings-on-Hudson Union Free School District,
Town of Greenburgh,
Town of Greenburgh,
Westchester County, New York,
Westchester County, New York,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Sign here.
Right here.
I couldn't.
That's it. Yep. Just one place, or here.
No, yes, you sign it there. Yeah,
Oh, that should be
your name. It's
printed.
all right.
Sorry.
Thank you, Janine.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judy.
Now District Clerk, you swear me in
okay.
as District Clerk. I have to be sworn in.
Okay, we don't need- okay. So we're now going to appoint the district clerk for the coming year. I
I, Janine Gnauer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of district clerk
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of District Clerk,
for Hastings-on-Hudson Union Free School District of the town of Greenburgh,
Hastings-on-Hudson Union Free School District, Town of Greenburgh,
Westchester County, New York, according to the best of my ability.
Westchester County, New York, to the best of my ability. Thank you. Right.
Great. Do you have to sign too?
So I will sign and you can take over.
Okay.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Janine.
Okay. There are a lot of other appointments that go on here. Did anybody have any concerns or issues with these you wanted to pull out? Otherwise, I'd like to take them as consent agenda.
Just, are there any on here that are new or substantially changed from last year in terms of the substance of what we're doing, or is there anything that's, I guess with Maureen? it would be
No,
more
I know that the only thing would be some slight changes in figures that people are being paid. I think the school physician or someone went from 5,500 to 5,600.
Right.
There's just incremental amounts for those types of
So this is just the
increases.
annual reappointing
Yes.
of all of these sort of
Right.
official positions?
Well, there is a couple of changes because Dr. Montesano has to take over some of the duties that Deb Argarten had until somebody
Right.
else comes on board.
Mhm.
So anything that she was in charge of is now being taken over
Okay.
by Roy Montesano. And Nick Macri is also taking on one of the roles that Deb Argarten had.
The data, yeah, the data.
And everything else stays the same. That would be the only two changes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So there are a total of 40 items on here, appointments. So if I can take as a consent items 7 through 40. Is that a motion?
Yeah, I move that we take items 7 through 40.
Second?
All those in favor? Okay. All right. All right, that ends the organization part of the meeting. We'll move on to, oh, maybe I didn't pick it up. Hold on.
Bring me one, too? Maybe for everybody. Do you have a second? Do you have the other one?
I have it on here.
Okay, so now we'll continue with the sort of more regular meeting. We don't have our superintendent here tonight, obviously, so we will move on to the public comment. If there are individuals who'd like to make a comment, address the board. If you have nothing to say right now, or we have a second comment period later, we can move on into, I'd like to take it a little out of order, since we have one of the people who's being appointed tonight here. We have personnel appointments. There are 6 of these. And since Amanda is here, I'll do that one separately. Does anybody have any comments or questions on these? Okay. Then I'll pull out number 3. This is to appoint Amanda Bassman as a .7 FTE phys ed teacher in the district. Welcome back. Amanda graduated from Hastings a few years ago, and she was actually in one of my kids' classes, so I'm familiar with Amanda. So of those, then I would like to just take them as a consent then, 1 through 6.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor? There you go. Best of luck to you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move back then to the business items. Any comments or questions on these items? Just of note, for those people who don't have an, we did approve a new contract with the Administrators Union that will be, is one of the items being approved this evening. And I would just like to take an opportunity, I really appreciate the work that our superintendent did in both this contract and the 2 other contracts that were done at the last meeting. Did a really nice job working with the faculty and staff and administrators, so appreciate that.
Right, I don't think we said at the last meeting, because there was so much going on, but that one of the things we had approved was the teacher's contract, and I
And the clerical
also,
union.
and the
as
clerical
well.
union, and just wanted to really announce that and say that it was a really very positive effort on both sides to work out this contract. And also thank the superintendent and the negotiating team from the teachers union and for the clerical union also.
Okay, then we have 6 items. Can I have a motion to approve them as a consent?
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
All those in favor? Okay. Resignations, we have 2 resignations. Any comments or questions? One of these is obviously a bigger position resigning than another, and I would like to take an opportunity to wish both of these individuals well in their new endeavors.
You want to just say who they are?
Sure, the 2 people who are resigning, one is Deb Auergart, and she's been the Director of Special Education, and the other is Savannah Testa, who's been a school monitor. So just wish them well. Can I get a motion to approve those 2?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay.
And I just want to take this time to thank Deb for her service and wish her well in her new position.
Okay, we have minutes from the last. I wasn't here, so it's hard for me to tell if they're good or not. Did anybody have any changes they wanted to make on those minutes?
No, I didn't see anything.
Yeah. Okay, then can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the from the June 22nd?
So moved.
And all those in favor?
No,
wait,
second.
Second? So
Second. Thank you. And then all those in favor? Okay. Do you want to do a report on all the policy things? This looks like the same policy report as the last week.
We didn't do policies last week because Donna wasn't here. Donna, Wendy, and you weren't here, so we didn't do
Policy
policies.
committee.
We thought we'd sort of pass on that one.
Without you, policy just doesn't
fly.
What can I say? Thank you.
These were largely driven by changes and recommendations from the NYSBA service that we participate in.
Right.
So there's some small things in here.
Right, so I think one of them is on the agenda tonight for a first read, which is the updates to the whistleblower policy, which are, as it says in my committee report, is based on new state regulations. And the state regulations, basically, what the change is that if the wrongdoing that has been discovered relates to any improprieties surrounding state tests, that the person who finds this is supposed to report directly to the state education department rather than reporting it within the hierarchy of the school district. So they gave us new language to sort of pull that out as separate, because everything else you're supposed to report sort of up the chain of command to, before it leaves the school. And then the other ones that that NYSBA was recommending that we change, there was one, let's see, one of them, Wendy, was just going to do a little editing based on what NYSBA recommended, but since she's hasn't been here, that hasn't happened yet. That was the student searches. And then the other 3 were all things that we're going to sort of pick up again in the fall, because each of them we needed to sort of get some additional feedback. There were some, they were recommending some changes to the school admissions policy having to do with what that policy sort of talks about how you prove that you're a resident, and they were listing a lot of different types of information that someone could provide, and it didn't mesh exactly with what we already had in our policy. So we wanted to go over that with Maureen, because she's the one that deals with this. And then there was, excuse me, a change to the interscholastic athletics policy that we wanted to run by our athletic director and discuss with him before we were ready to recommend what we're going to do. So that we'll deal with in the fall. And then the last...
What was the change about?
The change had to do with playing up or playing down, like 7th and 8th graders playing
varsity,
JV, or someone that's already
varsity playing
down.
JV.
And it was a sort of, it was a section that we didn't have in our any reference to in our policy at all, and we wanted to basically, the last time we had our policy committee meeting happened to be a day that Roy was sick, so it was just Wendy, Eileen, and me that were there. And so these were things that we wanted Roy involved in the discussion, and we also wanted, Maureen for one of them, Adam for this one, and then for the last one, we wanted to get the nurses involved because it was yet another change related to the health services policy, which we had just recently reviewed with the nurses, and there was new state law and regulations in place regarding students self-administering things such as inhalers, epinephrine, and insulin. And we just, again, before we made any changes, we felt that it was important to get the right input. So those three will take up again in September. And also, I assume in September, the student searches one will be ready for first read, and then the whistleblower one we've got on there tonight for the first read. So.
We don't have the whistleblower on it. We have searches. We have searches and interrogations on for tonight.
Oh, is it backwards?
Yeah.
Did I say it
We have
the wrong
searches
way?
and interrogations on tonight.
It's on the next page.
Attendance.
Under policies. The first read was searches and interrogations as provided by Wendy Nadich.
Is that the one that she sent in to you? Okay.
I thought I had sent you after, all right, well, we can talk about it later, but I thought I had sent you the whistleblower one, so if it somehow got lost in the ether of the internet, I'll resend that one to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Also, Janine, you had sent around about reviewing these
Right.
individual policies.
There's certain policies that the board is supposed to review on an annual basis. You don't have to vote on them or anything, but you're just supposed to review them. And that is your purchasing agreement is
Right.
required, your parental involvement policy, and the district investment policy. So they just need to be read. We don't have to do a motion on them or anything like that, but as long as you're fine with the wording. Other ones that need to be reviewed, I put under new business, because I didn't know how you wanted to handle them, is one, the board decided itself that it wanted to review its sexual harassment policy on an annual basis, and also the board decided it wanted to review the guidance plan that it has for the district on an annual basis, and that's in policy 4600 and 0110. The other one that we need to actually have a motion on is the Code of Conduct, and you last approved it February 4th of 2015. Most people approve it in the summer at the organizational meeting or just thereafter, because we have to hold a public hearing for it. So you can either hold off till February, or we can schedule it, if you do an August board meeting, we can do the public hearing followed by the board meeting then.
I don't know, my feeling is if you're going to have if you need the public meeting prior, then you need to do it when more of the public is around.
Okay.
You shouldn't do it in the summertime.
And we usually distribute one.
Right,
in
it's
September.
distributed in August, September
Right, so
anyway.
If
so-
something comes up, we don't want to have to
October.
make changes really
Okay.
quickly to it, so.
And actually, I should point out, the student searches and interrogations is actually a piece of the Code of Conduct. So the changes, so we will need to in the fall, I think, revise it based on, because the three of us were saying in our committee that section needed to be updated. So we'll need to schedule, when, if we're all comfortable with the changes that we're recommending in what you see and what's attached tonight, then it's not, we wouldn't be approving that policy in isolation. It would be part of having the public hearing and approving the Code of Conduct. So I don't think we would wait till February because there's actually a change we want to implement. We would do it in the fall.
Okay. And then the other one that you have to, but I don't have the data, is the attendance data that you're supposed to review to decide if you need to change policy 5100 at all.
Right, and I don't think we've triggered it, but just from anecdotal, but we can wait until we get the actual numbers from the superintendent and then decide. I don't think that we're going to have to look at it. It's just if you have a big shift in your attendance record for that year, then you have to take a look at your policy and see whether you need to do things differently in terms of trying to promote attendance. But that policy is largely written for large districts where there can be some really serious truancy, and it just doesn't tend to be the case for us. So I don't think we're at a point where that has to trigger, but I think we'll just follow up with superintendent and make sure that, so at the August meeting, we can bring it back up and
Okay.
I'll make a
See the
note to
data.
ask them about the,
And then do you want to just, I forget which one I sent you, sexual harassment or guidance, one of them actually required a group to review it. It was the board, the superintendent, some teachers, and that's it stated in the policy. I don't have my computer to be able to look it up, but it was a blurb that's actually in the policy as to who reviews it. So you may have to wait
We'll
till
have to wait till
September, till
September.
school's back in session.
right.
But just
Teachers are
notes on
here.
the.
Sure.
Yeah, because the teachers are.
The two of those are things that the board has determined in the past that they would review annually.
So you need attendance numbers and then the schedule. Okay.
So then, at the next board meeting, do you want to determine if you're all right with the purchasing and parental involvement?
Yeah, I actually,
All that,
I had a
you're
couple of
right?
questions on it. There's a place where we mentioned district treasurer and business official, and I wanted to make sure that they shouldn't be the same, so I'll have to follow up with Maureen
Okay.
on that anyway. And then also, a couple of things on the student searches, but we're not going to take that on tonight then, because we have to have a public hearing before we adopt it anyway.
Yeah.
So we can bring that back up in the policy meeting ahead of time.
Yeah.
The question I had there, and then the purchasing, do you remember there's stuff that's underlined in here? Do you know if it's because that's what they recommended we change?
It may be that the last time that they recommended changes that when it was loaded,
It references the piggybacking, which I know is a relatively recent change, but I
Yes.
wasn't sure if that was this.
see what the. That looks like, yeah, because this policy has it's redlined, it's got crossouts in it, so I think what happened was that when
Well, those are my crossouts.
Oh, those are yours.
Those are my hits, but, so I just wondered if that was the new stuff.
It probably, yeah, the piggybacking was the.
Was the new
most
stuff, okay.
recent thing.
All right, so that's really what was being changed in the purchasing. Okay. All right, so we are not going to be taking a vote on any of these things
No.
tonight then? All right,
It's
so we
just to
have
make the
schedule
board
review.
aware that these are things that have to be dealt with.
Okay. All right, so we'll have to do those. Okay,
Wendy's not here, but we did have to vote on who was going to be the BOCES liaison.
we do have to vote on that? Well, she's not here, so.
Appointed.
Vote her in.
Should we vote her in, or?
Accurate. Do we
She
have to
has
have it
been,
done by a
right?
certain?